So that's basically what we're dealing with here. It is kind of almost procedural combat in that the score is based upon your skill. People who have low skill will not have cool heroes. They'll not be spending so much experience, but they'll still be able to get through the game. Higher skilled people will actually be using the physics-based combat system to actually score much higher. They'll actually be experimenting with different combat styles. What it also means, because all of this is on one button, it also means that I've freed up this button and this button. Everything I've said about swords applies to guns and bows and arrows. Pressing fires the gun quickly, holding charges up and releases and aims. Magic, firing quick spells, charging up big spells. You are absolutely free to do this. Swing, 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 shoot. Swing, swing, shoot, spell. You can completely combine your combat. We've got a lot of spells which are to do with forcing and pushing. So you can push people against these boxes. You can shoot them up in the air and you can make them land on these spikes. Again, that's really interesting experimental stuff. If you're flying on a cliff top, you'll get more of a score for throwing somebody off. So you can see what we're trying to do. We're trying to give you an incredible combat system which makes it unique. I have played this about 40 times now, and the best one I did was at 9 o'clock this morning for some bizarre reason, with my hangover raging in my head. I was able to get the perfect soundtrack and the perfect score. Anybody any questions on that? I want to talk to you a little bit about what we're doing with death.
Just a quick question,
yeah.
Will magic, that stuff also affect the music?
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely, it all affects the music. The weapon you hold, your combat style, whether you're using guns, magic or swords affects it. And remember, this is a role-playing game where you can choose just to be a swordsman by just using this button, or just to be a ranged fighter just by using this button, or magician using this button, or a combination of all three. Any other questions? No?
About love?
Love?
You spoke about in Barcelona.
In Barcelona, well, I mean, this is the second big feature that I'm talking about. I'll talk a little bit about that because that kind of winds into the death discussion. Now, we have a very, very sound foundation stone in computer games, and it's death. And death in computer games always goes like this. You have a fight, you're fighting a boss or a normal character, your hit points get low, you die, the screen goes black, you go back to the start of the level or the last checkpoint, you watch a little bit of the cutscene again, you fight the same fodder creatures again, you fight the same boss again, you die, you go back to the start. It's incredibly tedious, but most games this applies to. I want to think of a different way in Fable. Because the only reason that it's like that is because it gives you tension in combat. Now, if it's just about tension, surely we can think of another way of giving you tension. And that's when we sat down and thought about it. We kind of thought, right, well, you know, what sort of tension could we give you? We could multiply your score if you don't die. You already got score multipliers. So we came up with we thought of a list. And then suddenly we realised that there are some things about Fable we could use. And one of them, strangely, is the love thing, in a way. I know you'll see why in a second. So the way that death works in Fable is like this, and it's quite cool. You're fighting, you've got a hit point, the hit points which come up, and if they get low, you'll start seeing them come up on the screen. The lower they get, the bigger the bar gets, the more the bar reduces, and when it gets to 0, your hero will collapse on the ground. And at that point, instead of the screen going black, the baddies will go, "Get him, he's down, the useless bastard," and they'll start kicking you on the ground, and they'll start stamping on your head, and they'll start picking up your arm and beating your chest, and if they've got knives, they'll start slashing into you. And it kind of feels a bit harrowing. It feels a bit distressing because it's like me being laid into. And the thing that they're doing at that point in time is if your hero's on the ground for a long time, he'll start getting scarred. And these scars will last forever. Once you're scarred, you never can remove a scar. Now remember what I said at the start about wouldn't it be lovely for us all to meet as heroes? Imagine if I met you and you were covered in scars. What's that say about you? We worry about our appearance, and remember that this is a role-playing game where everybody will comment on you. If you walk through the street and you're covered with scars, the people will go, oh my God, that's disgusting. If you have chosen to chat up a girl and chosen to got engaged and you've got married and you've moved into a house together and you've chosen to have unprotected sex and successfully had a child and you're in wedded bliss, you come back with a couple of scars on your face, she's going to go, oh my God, what happened to you? I'm not so sure about our relationship anymore. And when your kid rushes out and says, Daddy, 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 and looks up at you and goes, oh my God, that's horrible, and runs away crying, how does that make you feel? That is the tension, as it turns out to be, in combat. Your own vanity. And vanity is one of the most powerful things there is. Now, to avoid this, we never allow you to remove those scars. But what you can do, when you do collapse onto the ground, little bars come up the bottom, and one is money, gold, and one is experience. And if you're willing to pay that price at the bottom, you can leap up immediately and continue the fight straight away with a full health bar. If you don't pay that price, after a period of time, probably about 30 seconds, you'll get up anyway. And that simple mechanic gives so much more drama to combat than going back in time before. Any questions about that or anything that I've said so far? So that's where we stand with Fable 2. It's ambitious, we're experimenting with the new stuff, we're experimenting with fewer features, we're polishing those features much, much more than we've polished anything before. We're trying to make something which is a bit different, a different playing style for you, and we're just reinforcing the mechanics we have. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.